What's up, guys? I'm Darren, the host of ACE. Welcome to the show. What we do here is we feature purpose-driven creators and entrepreneurs and how they're going about designing their lives so they can do their most impactful and best work. And this week's guest is another example. Her name is Anny Chang, and she started an organization called City Wanderer. She started it as a senior in college. 7 years later, it has become one of Taiwan's most well-known social enterprises that connects youth aged 16 to 26 to real-world experiential challenges and experiences. And this episode is special to me because when I was a college senior, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a social entrepreneur. And even though I have kind of skirted around the edges of social enterprise with the work I do and the hobbies I have, I've never done it per se. So it was wonderful to learn from Anny's journey. Even though Anny is a Forbes 30 under 30 social entrepreneur for Asia, she's gotten a lot of press. I think that this is the type of conversation I wish I had heard as a college senior. That being a social entrepreneur is so exciting because it's aligned with your values and what you want to do, but it's also full of challenges and struggles and heartache. And for those of you who want to center your career around impact, I think this conversation will really help just give you a clear, on-the-ground view of what it takes to succeed and build a social enterprise. It's full of emotion, honesty, and nuance, also tactics. So we talk about how Anny founded her organization, how she grew it, how she sustained it, how she attracted what now is 5 full-time staff, 2 interns, and over 150 volunteers, and where that has left her now as she has decided to step away from the organization and start over again. So that's a really fun part of this episode at the very end. What I really learned was that behind the praiseworthy awards and articles and press of any social enterprise is often a determined, scared person who needs support, who is unsure, who doesn't have it all figured out, but who's constantly evolving. And it takes a village, literally. It takes family support, community support, government support to make one of these organizations a success. So I hope you enjoy my very raw conversation with Anny. And please know we also have a website. So if you want to get emails direct from me about the latest tips and tools and resources you can use to manage life as a purpose-driven creator and entrepreneur, go head over to upstartist.tv to get on my email list there. All right, now on to my conversation with Anny Chang. I'm really excited to interview our next guest. She's a social entrepreneur, but I want to let Anny introduce herself. Anny, how would you introduce yourself? What do you tell people when you meet new people?
I would say that I'm a big fan of backpacking, and I do have strong interest in education and youth empowerment. So I do what I love as my career.
I love that. So education and youth empowerment.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you don't like the social entrepreneur label?
Because I just quit my job. And I think, I wouldn't say that I'm an entrepreneur now, but I would say that I am a changemaker because I'm still trying to figure out what I can do to make the change in the world. So although I might not be an entrepreneur anymore, but I could still do a lot of social goods.
Absolutely. And so I can't wait to come back to that at the latter part of our conversation and learn more about, your transition and what that's like and what you're interested in doing. But I would like to talk about City Wanderer, the organization you co-founded, because it sounds like such an amazing program. Could you first talk to me about what City Wanderer does?
So what City Wanderer does is we try to empower the youth who is age 16 to 26, because between this age, like, people are usually feel confused about their future, especially in Taiwan, might be in Asia too. A lot of students, they spend most of their time on studying instead of exploring the society and themselves. So what we do is we provide a lot of experiential learning for them. For example, we have a program called Wandering Challenge. This is a challenge provides 30 different missions for all the participants. So in this challenge, all the participants can challenge themselves, like providing free hugs on the street or sharing food with all the homeless on the street, and try to learn how the society works and what do they feel about the society.
Wow. And how did this start?
So when I was 21, I was in the year 4 in college. Because I majored in sociology and I had strong passion about it, but I realized that most people don't really care about the society that much as I did. So I was starting wondering, like, so what did people do when they were in college? And then I realized that people they try to kill their time instead of studying what they love in the college. And that was a big waste to me. So in that year, I decided to initiate this program with my classmates. We try to encourage all the classmates to step out their comfort zones, try to do new things, to take challenges in their life, and be braver to face all the different things in their lives.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's two questions I have with that. The first is, it's not like you were going to an average university. You were going to a National Taiwan University, one of the most well-regarded, probably the most well-regarded university in Taiwan, and of course across the world. Mm-hmm. And to hear you say that, you felt like, I mean, you wish, more of your classmates cared more about society, or they were just trying to kill time. I mean, this is like the cream of the crop. These are the smartest people from Taiwan. Can I ask, where did that care come from you, right? Because that came from within. Did that come from your family or, your community, or where did that come from?
So I remember one time I was participating a speech. I was the speaker. And then after the speech, I talked to all the organizers. They are all students. So we talked to each other, and I asked a question to everyone. I asked them, so what do you want to do in the future? What do you want to do after graduation? And I remembered that there's one girl sat next to me, and once she heard the question, she cried badly. I was so shocked because I didn't think that question is harmful for anyone. And so I was curious, and I asked her, why did you cry? And she told me that it was her first time hearing that question in her life. And she suddenly realized that a lot of people might already thought about this question, and she never thought about it. She went to the college and she was already year 3. She didn't like the major she chose because she didn't choose the major. The major was chosen by her parents. And then she just realized there only one more year, then she needs to face a different stage in her life. She needs to choose on her own about the career. And that scared her a lot. And I was shocked too, because I didn't expect that I could become the first person in someone's life to ask this kind of question. And after that, I realized that she's not the only case in Taiwan. Her condition is very common in Taiwan. There are over 50% of students are like, they don't have passion about what they are studying in college. And sometimes they drop off the school just because they don't have passion and they don't know what they want to do. Yeah. So that was a turning point, I would say that.
Yeah. Did you know what you wanted to do after college?
Yes, I sort of like had a very strong self-awareness since I was young. So that's also another reason why I was shocked, because I clearly know what I want and I pursue what I want. And I was shocked to see that people who are in my age, they have like really blurred future and there are no answer and no help for them to figure out.
So what were you planning to do before you started City Wanderer?
So before that, I was thinking of joining a social enterprise or a local NGO, because I really like to serve people, and I also double major social work. So I used to think that one day I might be a social worker or any kind of staff in an NGO.
Yes, that's very clear. So let's talk about, you did that first project, right? Mm-hmm. What was the response?
Mm-hmm. So it was 2013. And we got no resource because we were just 6 college students, and nobody knew us. Nobody knew what City Wanderer is. So in the first beginning, we were scared before we officially initiated. But once we started, I sent like 100 emails to a lot of celebrities in Taiwan to say that we are going to initiate this program. We want to encourage people to step out of their comfort zone. Could you help us promoting this? And after sending so many emails, I got some response from some local celebrities. And it helped us to open our first opportunities. Like the first time we did this program, we recruited 183 students from like probably 20 different universities in Taipei. And they, in 2 weeks, because our challenge takes 2 weeks long. So in 2 weeks, all the participants co-finished like 800 missions. They provide thousands of free hugs to strangers. They have interviewed like probably 30 different parents and donated like hundreds of blood in 2 weeks. And I was really admired by all the youth, because that's also the first time I realized how much impact that youth can create.
So let me make sure I understand this. So the first time you did it with 6 classmates, and it was just kind of for fun, right?
Yeah, we just want to give it a shot.
You really wanted to give out some free hugs. Man, I wish I was around Taida then. But so that's what happened the first year. And then was it the same year that you wrote all these celebrities, and then you helped spread the word so that over 100 students were doing it?
Yeah, so before I started the program, we were promoting the challenge. We tried to recruit as many students as we can. So that's the reason why I wrote a lot of emails to celebrities to seek their help for us to promote all the things.
Yes. So the first time you did it, you had 183 students, 20 different colleges, 2 weeks, 800 missions. Was that when you realized, whoa, this could become something? What I'm trying to get at is, how can you as an entrepreneur or a social entrepreneur, when do you know when you've stumbled upon something that has momentum, right? As opposed to you pushing something so hard versus wow, it's growing organically and it's becoming something on its own? That's the question I'm trying to get at.
I would say the turning point, like the momentum happened at the second time I host this challenge, because after the second challenge I hosted, I graduated from the college. So the first time I was still studying. I was year 4, and the second time I was year 5. I postponed. And then, so once I seriously graduated, I was wondering whether I should like find a normal job, like a real job, or keep doing this project. And so in the first beginning, I was like all the others. I sent my CV to some social enterprise that I admire. And after 2 interviews, I got disappointed by the society.
Wait, you were disappointed by the organizations? I love it. This is great.
By the organization I went to interview. Yeah, so that's another story. But at that point, I feel like if I don't feel satisfied about the society and the working environment, why can't I just initiate one in the style that I like? That's the thought I had at the time. And besides that, the core group of City Wanderer was fragile, because students do a project for a year. That's kind of like the limit for most of the project in the campus. So people want to do something else instead of keep doing it. And I realized that I don't want to just let this program die on my hands. So I chose to keep doing it as my first job.
Wow. When were you able to allow the students to get college credit for doing the challenges? Because I feel like that's a really big part of it.
So actually, that was a few years after I started the program. After around 4 years, we have built some reputation with our brand. Some schools and government noticed there's a new educational innovation in Taiwan. And also at the same time, our government tried to remake the education. They want the students to learn how to be a self-learner instead of just following all the classes in the school. So our central government actually announced a national policy which allowed all the high school has the ability to design their own class. So we collaborated with the school, first with one school, and then after that we collaborate with more. But that's the opportunity that we officially collaborate with traditional education and co-host the class in the campus, and that class gives the student credit.
Yeah, did that help increase the response?
What do you mean?
Did that help City Wanderer grow, or was that just an additional thing?
I would say it's a branch of our brand, because at that time we have host our wandering challenge on our own in the society, and not just in Taiwan, also in Asia. Besides that, collaborating with school is a new methodology. We have to figure out how to make the program fix to the school system. And we don't teach this class on our own, so we have to empower the teachers in the school. And that help us to rethink what our core competence is. And then after 2017, we also provide training in school. Sometimes we also provide training in the some charity organizations as well. for them to know how to empower students, how to initiate the creative projects, and how to that all the students to be more passionate.
Yes. So what do you feel was the biggest challenge of
doing this?
Yeah, doing this.
So I would say because I have been doing City Wonders for 7 years, and there are several different stages of the startup. So in every stage, I had different biggest challenge. So in the first beginning, first 2 years, I was so scared about doing this startup because I had no experience on just work. Nothing like something professionally, but like I don't even have any idea about how a company works, how an organization works. I had no leader in front of me. I was the leader. I was the person who should had all the ideas about what we were doing, but I didn't. And that was scary. So that's the first challenge I faced in the first 2 years.
How did you deal with that? How did you deal with those first 2 years? Like, it was your first job, right? Yeah. Coming out of college, like running this organization and trying to grow it.
Yeah, and it was not a typical business, so there are no guidelines on the website.
No guidelines, exactly. No path.
Yeah. So I didn't make it well in the beginning, obviously. I made like a lot of mistakes. I disappointed my staff, my partners, and people blamed on me. So I remember in 2014, in the middle of 2014, I thought about suicide many times because I feel like I wanted to give up, but I didn't want to give up at the same time. So I was thinking if I die, then I could just give it up, but not on my will. It's passively giving up. So it was like really scary. I cried a lot. When I was home, I cried so hard in front of my family. And I remember my dad, so I was crying. And then he told me, you could give up at this moment. You didn't have to tell anyone because you are the boss. So you don't have to tell anyone to resign. If you want to give up, you can give up at this second. But he also reminded me that giving up is a habit. You can choose to get it when you are 21, 22. You can also learn and choose to keep doing this. That's another habit that you can get when you are young. So that's the first reminder. I got it from my dad. And the second reminder I got from my family is from my younger brother. He's a lawyer, and he got no idea about what social entrepreneur is, and he had no idea about what leaders should be. But when he saw I was crying, he asked me why I cried. And I said, because I think I'm really a bad leader. I disappointed others. And then my brother told me that although he didn't know the definition of good leader, but in his opinion, he doesn't think that a bad leader would cry so badly when he knew that he's a bad leader. So he said, I'm just not a good enough leader. And why can I try to be a better leader? And why can I just focus on being a better leader? I was so touched by my brother. And these two reminders gave me a lot of energy and gave me a lot of courage to face all the difficulties in my job.
Can I ask what the challenges were those first 2 years as a leader that you feel like you particularly struggled with, if you don't mind sharing?
Basically everything. Like human resource management, because I didn't know how to share resource to all of my volunteer slash partners slash those all the people around me. I don't know how to share the resource, how to share the benefit, how to divide the work. I didn't know how to set up the mission of the year or the yearly plan. I don't know how to write budget, how to do pitch, like everything. And because I majored in sociology, I didn't have to do all that kind of job when I was in college. So basically everything, and I was forced to learn in a very short time. So I had to be a really strong self-learner to seek all the information, all the learning resource on internet or on people on my own. And I didn't feel a lot of confidence.
Yes. Was there one person or resource that really helped you at that time? I mean, aside from your family, right, which was your foundation, which gave you the courage. I'm wondering in that time of struggle and chaos and like try to find your footing as a leader, if there was one resource that really helped you.
So I would say the incubator. I joined several incubators in the past. I joined total 7 incubators in my 7 years.
You've set the record. You've set the record.
Yeah. We got a lot of support as a social enterprise in Taiwan. So in the first stage, I joined an incubator called iLab. It's a social enterprise entrepreneur incubator. In that incubator, in the program, I met a lot of social entrepreneurs who was like me. We were all struggle with similar difficulties. We also had no idea about what our business should be as well. So that kind of peers helped me to get over all the difficulties. They provide me a lot of experience they had or the tools they are using. And that's a very practical suggestion. Yeah, so that's the strongest support I got in the first stage.
Yes. Okay, and then so now, wow, what a first stage. Now, what about the second stage? What about the second stage? Walk us through this.
Yeah, so the second stage is like year 3 to year 5. So I gradually build up the business. I shouldn't say business. It's like the project get bigger. So we serve more people, more students in more cities. We have more volunteers. We got some reputation in the campus, but not from the government. So at that stage, I was struggling with the business model most, because at the first stage, we were just graduated, so we didn't really think too much about how much we earned from the project. We just tried to focus on who we were, who we should be. And that's the question for the first stage. And the second stage, since we got more followers on Facebook and from our community, we tried so many different business models. Did a lot of pivot again and again. I tried to sell the T-shirt in the campus in the beginning because I thought that students like to buy hoodie or T-shirts to show their support. But the point is, we didn't really know the cost of this industry, so we felt we sold it with a too low price, so we didn't earn anything from that try. And then after that, I tried to make an app, because app is so popular. Educational tech is like a popular trend in the world. So I thought probably I could make Wondering Challenge become an app for everyone in the world. So we can be like a educational version of Pokemon Go. But I don't know how to do code. So I hired someone who was studying the IT in National Taiwan University. But it turns out that guy didn't know how to write code as well. And so we spent way too much time than I thought to develop it. And then obviously we cannot really do it without a professional engineer coder. So we failed again. Then I tried more business models, and I failed like 4 times, I would say. And in the end of the second stage, I finally found I shouldn't say find the business model. We tried so many, and the last one, which wasn't dead, was the one we should do more. So eventually I got the business model by so many failures.
What was that business model, so our audience knows?
Yeah, so our business model basically is like we are a B2B2C business. So we help college, we help governments, we help foundations to set up a customized program for their user, for their members, for their students. So we become the trainer, we become the project designer, project manager for all our partners, clients. And in the same time, we still provide our own challenge program to the students, because this nonprofit project help us become impactful in the society and help us get a strong community in the campus. That's also the reason why all our clients want us, because our clients like National Taiwan University, they want to encourage the students to have more courage to face their challenge in the school, but they don't know how to do it. So they come to us because they know, this organization, City Wonder, is popular in Taiwan. It's a popular organization among students. So we keep providing free service to the cheap. I shouldn't say free. It's a cheap project to the students, and we also charge the organization.
So it's almost like the core, the original part of City Wanderer acts as it's your marketing, it's how you mobilize. You make your impact, right, with those students. You get the attention, you build the reputation, and then you can charge your larger clients, right, for that customized training.
Yeah.
Something like that. So when you're talking about finding business models, I have to ask you about salary. How did you pay yourself? How did you pay staff? Like, how did that work? Were they volunteers? What a challenge. Because I think that's such a challenge for social enterprises.
So right now we have 5 staffs, full-time staffs, and 2 interns, and around like 150 volunteers in every year. So we pay staff's salary, we pay the intern salary, but we don't pay volunteers. So we get income from our clients, and that's just like all the other business. We pay the salary by those income. We also get donation as well, donation and some grant, and that just works like all the other non-for-profit organization. We pay the staff by those donation or those grant support. So we have we are the mixture of nonprofit and profit organization. When you ask about the salary, are you asking about the standard or the management?
I was actually asking about you.
Oh, me? Okay. So I pay myself as all the other full-time staff. I earn like $1,300 per month. It's not very high as a founder of an organization, but I would say it's not bad at my age in this generation in the society. I can definitely survive, like live quite well with that salary, with that payment. So that's my salary is like the highest in the organization, but one of my staff got exactly the same salary as I got. The difference between me and other staff are not that big, so we basically get almost the same salary. And one interesting thing is we all know how much we earn in the organization. The salary is transparent.
And that was intentional.
Every time. Yes. So that's a very interesting part, because normally people don't want the staff know how much the others earn. But in my organization, I feel that I try to create a different kind of working culture. I believe that once we all know how much other people earn, that means we agree with that arrangement. We agree with that decision. And the reason why we agree, because we know how much this person can contribute to the organization, and the organization will contribute us individually with different salary. And I think that rely on a lot of trust in the organization. That's how I decide my salary. We decide everyone's salaries based on their need of life and their ideal salary, and then also the financial situation of the organization. So we would let all the staff know these three, and we discuss like how much we should pay eventually, including me.
Why did you, well, you already talked about why you decided to do that, but I'm just curious, like what inspired you to have such a transparent model of salary and payment? Did something inspire you there? Or
actually, no, but because I didn't have any experience on like business, including salary level or any normal business rule. So it just made sense, right? It sounds like. Yeah, it just makes sense. Like I don't know how much I should pay you, so I talk to you. I ask your need, because obviously your payment is gonna to help you survive in the society. So it definitely related to your need of life, of your family's life. And so that's like an instinct. So I spent years to realize that our model is quite weird to others. And I guess we don't have the stereotype of the salary, and that help us to be more creative and to build up a totally new model of the business.
I think it's absolutely fascinating, and I'm going to recommend one book or author to my audience. There's a man named Ricardo Semler, who's actually this Brazilian entrepreneur, and the name of his book is called Maverick, because he did exactly what you did. He said everyone should, really? Yeah, everyone should know what we're all making. Why not? And obviously that's a very radical approach, but his sort of method of management, being super transparent and just being very common sense, in the same way you were very common sense about what you're paying your employees based on their need and based on how much your organization had. It makes a lot of sense, actually, to me. So I will link to that book in the show notes, and I hope more people are inspired by him, because I certainly am. So that's pretty cool. You and Ricardo Semler are the two people I know that that do that. Let me ask you, in the second stage, as you were searching for the business model, right? And then finally you had a survivor at the end. Did you have any fork in the road moments? So in other words, maybe your organization was about to die, or you guys were close to closing shop, or maybe you had two options that were both really good and you decided on this as opposed to that? Like, I'm curious if you had any one moment or was it many moments?
Are you asking about the good moment or the bad moment, like the good choices I had, or
how about both?
I would say probably in last year. So our business were a bit like more stable in last year.
Yes. So this is the third stage now, right? This is like the third stage.
Yeah. And I think the issue is more related to me, my personal situation, because after like 5 years working for a startup, my own startup, it was really stressful. Although I have overcome a lot of difficulties already, but the stress is always there. I couldn't stop worrying about everything in the organization. Although the situation probably was good, I was still worrying about what if it goes bad in the future. And so it was very stressful, and my health condition was really bad. I went to seek doctor every month. I spent a lot of money on medical service. Everyone around me noticed that. So in last year, I think there were two paths in front of me. One is keep doing your dream job. I would definitely think that is my dream job. That is the perfect path I created on my own, and it's still there, and it's very stable. We got a lot of good reputation. I became the advisor of Executive Yuan, the central government. I can sit next to a lot of famous business leader in everywhere, and that was like a very stable path to like a very fantastic career path to most of people. And another path is giving up. Try to focus on my health first, and try to restart and rethink what I can live my life, how I can live my life. And that seems more difficult to most people because that means no salary. You are going to be no one again. You are going to give, because my business is legally is a non-for-profit organization, so I don't have stock of my business. So I won't get any passive income if I quit. That means you give everything you have created to someone else, and then you walk away. And that doesn't sound a good path to most people, but I chose that path. That's why I said I quit my startup. It was a hard decision. I spent like half year to figure out, and right now I think it's a good path for me to take. Yeah.
Okay, I want to thank you so much for sharing that, and I want to come back to this new path you're on. But I just have one or two more questions on City Wanderer. How were you able to give your baby to someone else? Like, who were you able to give it to?
So I in 2 years ago, I recruited a staff. She's called Sunny. She is a very super passionate person, just like I am, and she had experience in education for over 6 years. She's at same age as I am, and once I look at her, I feel like, oh, she's like the younger version of me. When I was starting City Wanderer, I was scared, but I was brave too. And she's like this kind of person, and I totally trust her. I know that she chose what she loves, and she would spend like all her time and all her attention on try to make it well. So I don't doubt that once I give it to her, you become something weird that I dislike, I hate. We share similar value, and the vision is there. We discuss so many times, and I spent like half year discussing with her, training her to take over my place. Yeah.
How are you able to find her and your other employees that were also talented, you know? How were you able to attract these people?
Yes, that's a good question, because I would say like all the interns, all the staff in my organization are so talented, and they love the organization even that when they left. Firstly, we serve college students, so they graduated soon, so then they are already the fan of our organization. That's one of the path that how we recruited interns, a lot of talented interns. And secondly, we wrote a lot of stories. We share a lot of stories by giving speech about what we have created, what the impact we created, the stories of students that we saw while we serve them, and people get touched. So we are a very emotional organization. We try to be a touching organization to students, and this culture attract people who are similar, who share similar vision. And the third reason is not from our organization, is from the environment. It's like Taiwanese youth at this moment, they are eager to find a job which can help them create impact instead of earning a lot of money. That's a very popular trend in Taiwan. So we get benefit from it, get benefit from this new culture of new value of working.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm really touched to hear that. Well, let's talk about your new path now, right? How you raised those two options. And, you would never say this about yourself, but yeah, you're, Forbes 30 under 30, social entrepreneur from Taiwan, people in the government, like you're a public face, right? And I also noticed you're also an author too.
Yeah,
and a host.
I love writing.
Yeah, I mean, so I had to dust off some of my old Chinese language skills and try to read your posts. But I saw you write a lot, right? You're very reflective, and you host as well, right? You mentioned you were hosting
for a while.
My point is that I think a lot of young people, or even older people like me, would dream of building an organization like City Wanderer that you started in the proverbial college dormitory, right? Like this little project that became this big thing that has, impacted tens and thousands of people. And now you're like, no, I really want to focus on my health. I want to focus on starting over. In a sense, it sounds like you're trying to reprioritize your values in a sense, right? Like what you're trying to get out of life. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's definitely what I'm doing right now. I would say when I just graduated from the college, what I thought is always like, I wanna contribute the world. I wanna like make impact. I want to help others. I want to be someone who is useful to the society. And my personal issue, that's not an issue. And so I broke up several times because of my dream. I remember in 2018, I was in America. I was in the United States. I visited a local family who are doing similar job like I do. And they are a family. They have a house. They have 3 kids and a dog and so many pets in the yard. And they have so much passion about their family life and their career life. And and they are very healthy. And that's the first moment that I realized doing your dream job and focusing on your personal happiness are two things that we can pursue in the same time. We don't have to sacrifice one for another. And that's hard, but that's not impossible. And besides, like finding the balance between career and personal life, I also noticed that there are so many more educational innovation in the world that I will definitely feel excited about. City Wonder is not the only thing I would feel excited. There are much more talent in the world are also working on the same value like I am. And I want to know who they are. I want to learn what they do and try to probably create a new space, new place for people who can pursue life and career balance, self and public. Is it hard to understand?
No, it's crystal clear, actually. And
in Taiwan, doing social enterprise is still not easy, although we kind of like become a remarkable organization, but we only have 5 staffs. My salary, the highest salary in the organization is $1,300 per month. That's not the salary that can afford, that can raise everyone. We are very selective of our staff. The only people who are not that poor, who are not that needy, can join our organization. They have to be talented. They have to be well enough to join us. And that's not fair. Only for people who are healthy can join us. That's not fair. Healthy, very healthy. And I feel like probably right now I should focus on more difficult issue, that is how to balance the public happiness and the self-happiness place for everyone. We can still make impact, but we should also pay attention on our own, on the staffs, to improve more happiness, not just for others, also for ourselves.
And has anything really helped you in this transition stage in terms of thinking about where that balance lies between, as you said, personal happiness and your dream job, right? Like, have there been any sort of guiding lights for you there?
Not really. The cases I saw are not very successful so far. Like I know some social entrepreneur, they quit their job for their family. They move to Canada. They move to other places, and they are struggling. They are struggling with the new situation. I didn't find a lot of books telling me how to quit from the startup and how to start over from our dream job. So I think my situation is not very common. That's the first thing. However, while I was reading the articles I wrote in the past, especially at the stage that I just initiated the organization, I felt the same feeling. I got the same feeling. I was scared. I'm scared. I had no idea about the future. I have no idea about the future either. So it was just like the past me is teaching the current me, like what you can do and what kind of attitudes that you should, like what kind of mindset you should have to face all the unknown problem, unknown situation. So I think I am now taught by the previous me.
That's so interesting. And it's maybe the difference is when you were 23, you weren't expected to know the answers. But now, as a 30-year-old, I'm assuming you're close to 30, you're expected to know the answers, at least a little more. You've led this really well-known organization, but you're willing to go back to that you could call it a beginner's mindset, that place of not knowing. And that's why, yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I don't think but you seem willing to embrace it. Like, this is something you've chosen to do. You've thought a lot about. This is where you want to be. You want to be back in that place where you don't know.
Actually, I think that's a gift that I want to give to myself when I'm closer to 30. Like, have nothing or being nobody could be a status that in any stage in our lives. And sometimes we are not choosing to be nobody. We are forced to be nobody. We are forced to lose everything. Just like right now, like currently, so many people lose their job because of the coronavirus. They were talented. They are talented. They are doing so good on their job. They have passion, but suddenly you lose everything just because of something that you cannot control. I believe that one day I might face this kind of situation. I might be forced to lose everything that I have, probably in 40s or in 50s something. And I want myself to learn how to start over at every stage, any kind of like situation. I want myself to be brave enough to start over again. So I already did once when I was 22, and this time I would intentionally choose to start over again. And that's the habit that I want myself to learn at this age.
I think that's a beautiful place to end our conversation. And, you know, maybe in that space of not knowing and emptiness, there's room for something to fill that as well, right? There's room for opportunity, new ideas, new people, new ways of living, new things. Like, so I'm really excited for you for this next stage for you. And where can our listeners, you know, who I'm sure are going to really want to follow you after this, where can they follow you? Or
I do have Instagram and Facebook page, but most of my posts are now still in Chinese. But if they want to follow my Instagram or my Facebook page, probably I can leave the account to you. Like, then people who are interested can easily find me on Instagram. The ID is Anny Chang, is my name, so Anny Chang 91, so it should be easy to find.
Okay, yeah, we'll be sure to link to those social accounts in the show notes so those of you listening can follow Anny. Anny, thank you so much. This is a really special chat. Even though I'm in this coffee shop, I really felt like we connected, and thanks for sharing so much with our audience.
You're welcome. It's my honor.
Thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on whatever podcast app or platform you use. It helps more people find the show, and I would sincerely appreciate it. Thanks again, and remember you can find all the show notes and links mentioned in this episode at upstartist.tv/ACE. That's ASE. Hope to see you over there to continue the conversation.